Hello, guys. I'm back again on the Stoic Sapling podcast. Today, I'm joined with my good friend, Mira Solomon. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Mira. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Ethan.
The first woman that's been on the podcast.
That's true. I'm a groundbreaker is what I am. I heard a couple of them, and I know Izzy was on. I know a couple of your friends were on. But yeah, I'm the first woman.
Yeah. Does that reflect something about me? That this is the first woman?
You just need more female friends.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Or I'm the brave one.
You've been a good female friend, so I thank you for taking this step and joining me on here.
My pleasure.
Well,
Absolutely.
Today I wanted to discuss Israel, your experience in Israel, and the crazy shit that's been going on in Israel.
Yes, it's a weighted topic, but I also had, just going back to before I went to Israel, I am Jewish. My family's Jewish, but I'm not a very religious person, and I had no tie to Israel whatsoever beforehand. So if you were to tell me, I guess a year ago now, that I would have not only spent a summer in Israel, but then there would be another war breaking out, and I'd be talking about it, I would just think that's ridiculous. I had no tie whatsoever.
So what brought you to Israel over the summer, and what were you doing?
So I am a member of Tamid Group. It's a student organization. It's global, and it's focused on business with Israel, but it's not political, it's not religious. It's simply capitalizing on Israel because it has the most startups per capita. Might not have the most startups per capita anymore, but it definitely has the most unicorns per capita. So very successful startups.
A unicorn
Startup that has grown to being over a multi-billion-dollar company. So
wow.
I'm thinking Wix is an Israeli unicorn, for example.
The website maker.
Yes. Yeah. So
they're a powerhouse in startups.
they are, and it's because of the Israeli culture on a whole, which again, I learned all of this through, well, in part Tamid, in part my cousins. My uncle is Israeli, and so his sons actually went to Israel and did the whole army thing, made Aliyah, which I don't plan on doing.
What's Aliyah?
So Aliyah, I don't know what the Hebrew word means, but I know it means to go back to, I guess, the homeland and like to reintegrate yourself into Israeli society. So a lot of the people that I met there I'll say, oh, so where in Israel are you from? Oh, no, I'm from Jersey. Like, I'm from America. But then they study for however long. There's some list of requirements that's pretty impressive. They learn Hebrew, they do their service, and then they're just Israeli citizens. So it's kind of a way
cool.
to, yeah, I know. It's a cool opportunity. If my life goes to shambles, I can always go to Israel and have a great future.
And I'm assuming right now you wouldn't want to do that, but
No, I would not. Not at all. No.
No.
Even leaving before anything happened, just in early August, leaving Israel, I knew I wasn't going to go back to live there.
Why?
I did not leave feeling some pull to start a life there.
Okay.
I would start a life again in America. I would start a life in Europe, but I don't feel the draw of going to the Middle East. Again.
Yeah.
I mean, and kind of understandably. Also, just for scale, so me driving home from Indiana to Atlanta is 8 hours. You can drive top to bottom of Israel in 8 hours. So that's all. That's it. There's nothing else there other than,
You'd feel too confined.
I would feel very confined because I feel like I explored a significant amount of the country in 2 months. I need more. And I would go back to vacation to visit people, but I wouldn't live there.
That's an underrated part of America, is you kind of have, it's so vast.
There's so much to explore, and yeah, I would feel definitely a little bit limited in Israel. And also, they don't really have enough trees. There's this park in Tel Aviv called Yarkon Park, and it runs just sort of towards the north of Tel Aviv, and I lived below it, and I worked above it, so I had to commute through the park every day.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you would think that, and the people in Israel thought that, but then they said, you have to go running in Yarkon Park. And so now, in Israel, I didn't have access to a gym. They had these great outdoor beach gyms, which was kind of fun, but I would
like
go
Venice Beach?
Yeah, exactly, like Muscle Beach. Just a bunch of really jacked people doing calisthenics. It was very...
That's you?
No, it was intimidating, let me tell you. But I went to Yarkon Park, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to see what they're talking about. And I was like, okay, it's just trees. I mean, it's really nothing extraordinary. It's just some grass, a dirty lake, and trees.
See, I'm imagining like just
lush rainforest
and like ethereal sort of beauty when I think of Israel.
No. Yes, but not Yarkon Park.
Okay.
A lot of the time on the weekends, or I guess like 3 a.m. because the sunrise is at like 5 in Israel. And so you're either up with the sun or you're up and then it's 90 degrees outside. I mean, it's a little bit brutal in the summer there, especially during the heat wave. But
you're a morning gal, so
I am indeed. And so I went on a lot of early morning hikes because everything's so close. It's all very accessible. So Yarkon Park was not the natural beauty of Israel. I definitely think Apolina was.
Where Apolina?
Apolina National Park. It's up by Herzliya. It's this gorgeous hiking on the water.
Okay.
And it's just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And there are just Roman ruins throughout. Like, it's insane.
That sounds like my style.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Hot, but beautiful.
Okay. And with this being said, let's talk of Israel. How culturally are people different? An American, Israel, is that part of the poll? Why you wouldn't want to ever live there?
No, actually. I loved Israeli culture.
Okay.
So I didn't even really finish. So I was with Tamid Group. It's a business student organization, do business with Israel, and I was awarded the fellowship, which meant I got to go spend the summer in Israel and intern at a company, at a startup. I paired with Allison AI, and so I spent my 2 months working there, and I still work for them now. I stayed on, so that gives you a sense of that I did actually like them. But the Israeli culture is, in a sense, very laid back. People are much more casual. We were laughed at if we had a suit in our luggage. Like, nobody used a suit, even at Evercore. The kid that interned at Evercore, he wore a button down and slacks to work every day, which would just be unacceptable in New York. I know. But so showing up to work in nicer but just linen shorts was fine. One thing that I loved about Israeli culture is that they are very blunt and very straightforward, and that's kind of how I grew up.
So are you.
Yeah.
I feel like so are you.
Yeah, so it fit. Day one on the job, I walked in, they had some Israeli pastries and Arab pastries for us. It was great. They were very, very welcoming, very sweet. And then Esther, who is my manager, she'd done my onboarding. She brought me into a room and said, all right, can you look at these slides and tell us, I mean, I know this is short notice, you just got here, we'll kind of introduce you later, but just look at this and see what you think. And I looked at it and I said, I mean, I noticed some errors, but in my mind I was like, okay, I'm not going to be too overbearing. My first question they asked me, and so I said, I mean, it looks great. The colors are, I mean, they mostly match. There's a little bit here, but I mean, it looks good.
American answer.
Very American answer. And then Ron, who is just the most Israeli you can possibly be, except he was born in San Francisco, he says, send her back. And I looked and I said, okay, well, all right, I'll be honest. And so then I shredded it apart and they were like, that's what we wanted. That's what you need to do. So that's 5 seconds of Israeli culture, is very blunt, very honest. And if you're not being blunt and honest, they take that as rudeness, as opposed to we take blunt honesty as rudeness.
And I'm guilty of it. I myself give answers like that a lot that just aren't, even to my friends, and I'm guilty of it. I think I have to do a better job of just biting the bullet and just giving the truth.
Exactly, because that is the highest form of love, is you can take this criticism and it'll fix you, and that you'll be better for it, as opposed to just, I'm going to make you feel better now, but in the future you won't have grown. I
need to give that to some of my friends in their relationships.
It carries to all aspects of life, yeah.
There's probably a push and a pull here.
Yes. But I did learn from that, and I think that's changed a little bit of the way I do work in teams, is I'll be more honest now. Now, in the context of business writing, people might not like that, but our paper got an A, so I did.
Hey, you did what needed to be done.
You had to do it. So that honesty was definitely a culture shock. And also they club a lot.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know there's that much partying.
So you would think not, and especially Shabbat, the city closes down.
Shabbat is Saturdays.
Shabbat is from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown.
Okay.
I haven't really thoroughly celebrated Shabbat since COVID, when my family was just home and we had nothing else to do. So we'd make a challah and do the candles on Friday night. But in Israel, for example, if you go in on a Friday and you stay till the sun is down, you're stuck there until Saturday night. Because Jerusalem is... I said Jerusalem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because Jerusalem is much more religious than Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is pretty secular. But even then, the buses won't run. Things get pretty unreliable. But then clubbing culture just spikes up. So
that's it.
It's insane. So you're not able to go anywhere in Jerusalem. We have to walk anywhere that we want to go. And nearly everything's closed. But then the shuk, which is the market, turns into this massive nightclub. And everyone's dancing and drinks are flowing. And it's...
See, I thought... Yeah. I associate clubbing with, unholiness in most eyes of like drinking, sex.
I've never felt closer to God than when I'm kidding. It was, and I think it's not in the same American way of, you know, frat boys and beer and just dirty floors. Yeah, no, it's not in that way. It's much more, I'm here with my friends and nobody's on their phone and they're dancing. And yes, they're drinking. They may be drunk and stumbling around the streets, but at the end of the night, you're sitting on the beach with your friends at 3 a.m. and you would rather be nowhere else.
It's like more of a celebration.
Exactly. It's more of a celebration of we're here, we're with these people, and it's amazing, as opposed to just, I hate my life, I'm going to go get hammered.
That's a big difference. That's what I was imagining.
Yes. So it's a much more beautiful culture in that way, I think, is much more present. Because, I mean, you have the beach right there. What are you going to be on your phone when you can go swimming? I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah.
How do you practice staying present in your own life?
I think a lot of it comes, I don't put my AirPods in when I'm walking around. And I know that seems like such a tiny thing, but people, I've noticed that when they have their AirPods in, then they're going to be on their phone walking to a tree, and they're just so detached from everything. Yep. And it also seems kind of rude when you're walking up and you see someone, you pull out one AirPod so that you can hear them, and the music stops, but you're halfway blocked. Just as a person. And I think on a principle that I want to be more open and just open to those around me and hearing the trees and the birds. If I'm studying, I'll have my AirPods in and I'll be working, but just staying present, staying off of technology when I don't need to be on it.
That's beautiful. That needs to be like broadcasted to anyone our age. Because I agree. And people just, especially around here, they just block out everything.
Because you think, what did people do 5 years ago when they didn't have AirPods? You just walked and you listened to it would be obscene to be blaring your music on your phone walking down the street. So you just walked, and then if you go and you're sitting somewhere before social media, what do? You just sit there, you know, strike up conversation with the person next to you. You're not on your phone scrolling, so you don't look like a loser on your own, waiting for your friend to come. So I think that is definitely how I stay present. It's just not using it when I don't need to use it. I don't have it. It's not anywhere near me. It's in my backpack, I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
I just practice this at the barbershop. Whenever I get my hair cut, I walk in, my goal is like, don't get on your phone.
It also feels so good.
It feels good. Like I just like, I walked in, I had my phone on me because I wanted to show him a picture of what what I wanted my hair to look like. But other than that, I didn't get on the phone. I just said what's up to the barber, sat down, and then he was 15 minutes late. I didn't even realize it because I didn't have the clock.
Yeah.
So I couldn't like get flustered because I didn't know what time it was. So it felt kind of like very pure in the sense that I could have easily, if I had my phone on me, gotten pissed because he's late and he's taking my time away. Just angry. But no, I stayed present and got my hair cut.
Yeah.
And I look good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You're happier for it. So absolutely, that's how I stay present.
That's great.
Yeah.
This talk of Israel obviously transition to the war. How has that impacted your personal life and just everything that's been going on in Mira's world?
So the most impact, I guess there are two ways that it has impacted me more so than it would have if I had never been. One is that I still do work for the company. So I'm on Zoom with them every Sunday morning at like 7 a.m. because they're on Israeli time.
That's why you can't camp with us.
It's true. I have to be up.
I'll
go camp. I have the weekend off. I'm gonna eventually go camping. I promise.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'll be on Zoom with them, and I remember they never took a day off of work. They might have taken that first day off, like just everyone in their shelters. But then after that, they were back to work. Hey, can you get these slides done for me?
That's great.
And so I think that was in two ways. Well, one way it was coping. That was how they were just kind of, okay, I'm gonna be busy now. And then the second way, it's kind of normal life. I mean, rockets in the Iron Dome being active is kind of normal. I had conversations while I was there of, why don't you leave? I mean, if you have rocket alarms going off, why would you stay here?
Yeah.
And then she said, my uncle said, who's in America, said that you guys have school shooting drills. I said, oh yeah, I mean, we'll practice lockdown drills. She said, that's horrible. People just walk around with guns and people just like shoot other people at a school. So it's all about the context. That's obscene to them, whereas the rockets are obscene to us.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until I had that conversation. Yeah.
And the fight's never been on our turf in America.
Yeah.
There's never been a fight here. I think it's difficult for people to imagine.
Yeah.
And I know you've had a connection to people that have gotten their land invaded, however you want to describe it.
Yeah, I mean...
That's a crazy shift.
Because Israel's young. It was founded in, Israel became Israel in 1948, I think.
Right after World War II.
Yeah, but... So that was becoming, the Holy Land for the Jews. But even before the war broke out on, was it the 7th?
Mm-hmm. October 7th.
The 7th or the 8th. But the 7th, being there, I noticed that it was a little odd. So when you go to Jerusalem, you think, oh, the Holy City.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's holy, and there's the Wailing Wall, which is the Western Wall. That's probably the most significant religious location for Jews. But then the area where it is called Temple Mount, and it has the 3 most holy locations, sites for the 3 religions. And so I don't understand how there can be a singular claim to the land. And I understand why it's a Jewish land. I get that. And that it is in practice since, I guess, 1948. But I also think that the government is poor, and before this war broke out, everyone was protesting the Israeli government for being corrupt. And I believe that is also, I think there is vast room for criticism in the Israeli government and the way that it runs. And I had, again, no knowledge of any of this before spending a summer there and seeing protests everywhere and wondering what it was about. So I absolutely think that it has changed the way that I view what's going on there, and that I think everyone's wrong and nobody's doing the right thing. And it's not the citizens, it's the governments. And then in Gaza specifically, they're not run by, there's no Palestine government. It's Hamas is running Gaza, And then the West Bank was sort of run by another terrorist organization, and then the Israeli troops have some form of governing control there, like a wartime. I'm not familiar with that as much, but I know in Gaza the IDF has not been in there since 2007 or something.
And what's the
the Israeli Defense Forces?
Got it.
It's kind of funny. You'll be on public transit just to go to work, and there's someone standing there with a massive rifle, like the size of. You're like, oh, I'll behave. I promise.
And didn't your cousin or someone distant to you serve in the IDF?
Yeah, I mean, so all 3 of my cousins made Aliyah, and they all returned to Israel, became Israeli citizens. I could be a tri-citizen. Think about that.
What is tri-citizen, like your 3rd removed?
No, like a 3rd citizenship, because I'm American, German. I could be Israeli if I wanted.
Okay, I forgot you have the German citizenship.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right of return.
But your cousins, though, they did it. They are tri-citizens.
Yeah, I think they did also do Yeah, they also got their German citizenship. So they're, wow, they could work for the CIA or something. That's cool.
They've done their
Super
dues.
spies, yeah. So they made Aliyah, and then I also have some family friends, I guess, that are there. And I think their daughter is actually 19. She's a little bit younger than me, and she's a commander at the Iron Dome.
That's the one that you were telling me about.
Which is crazy to think about, that she's
you.
She's my age. We look a little bit alike. And she's contributing to her country, and I'm studying for statistics. I mean, it doesn't compute.
Does it make you sad?
It makes me guilty. I feel a little bit guilty, especially when that was all happening and people were reaching out to me. I went to a very non-Jewish high school. It was just predominantly, there might have been like 5 Jews in my grade of about 300. And my AP European history teacher, not even from my senior year, she was from my junior year, so I'm about 4 years out from having her class. She emailed me saying, wow, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and I'm sitting here like I'm in my studio apartment living by myself with food, like I'm fine. And the fact that that moment made me feel very guilty in that I'm fine. And in Indiana, nothing's happened. Yeah. I know in New York, at UPenn, Harvard, a lot of schools have had some issues with professors and anti-Semitism, but nothing's really happening at IU, so I feel so guilty.
How do you cope with that guilt? Because I know, like, it's really weird to me. Like, we're just sitting here, my buddies and I are debating something like sports related, and then there's just wars going on all across the world, and then I read the Wall Street Journal, and there's just another tragedy after tragedy, and like, how do you cope with that?
I think I started learning to cope with it actually during my internship, because half of their office is in Israel and half of it's in Ukraine. So I'm now working with two warring countries, if you think about it. And so when I was there in Israel, I thought, wow, this is insane. I'm working with a country at war on Zoom. How do I support them? Because their power would go out, or they'd have an alarm, an air raid siren. They'd have to go into safer areas just middle of the workday, and you'd have to pick up the slack and do their work for them because our clients still have deadlines. And then that's been exacerbated 2 times over now that Israel's at war. And so coping with it, it's not that I don't think that anyone should unequivocally support a government or a region or a nation just because of one thing. And I think that Israel has many, many flaws. And I think, I think Israel has many, many flaws. Yeah. So the way I support the citizens and the people is just by doing my work. I mean, I'm helping them feed their families, keep shouldering extra client work for them.
Maybe taking some stuff off their hands.
Exactly. Yeah. So that, I mean, I remember I was on a Zoom call. It was a week of, I had tests too, so I was a little bit stressed for exams in school. And Ron, who was the ex-San Francisco Israeli guy that I mentioned, he was he was home. This was before they returned to the office, and he mentioned that I could call him at any time. And so I'd called him, and it was, let's say, like 3 our time, which is late for them. They're 7 hours ahead, so it was 10 p.m. for him. And I said, well, you don't have to work with me now. You can give me these answers in an email tomorrow. But then
go to bed,
go to sleep. And then he Slack huddled me. It's Microsoft Teams version, but Slack. So it was a video chat, and he's just in his home. And I was like, Ron, isn't your family asleep? I mean, he has 2 young kids and a wife. And he said, yeah, but I can't. And I said, no, I mean, I can take the work. I completely misunderstood. And he said, well, there's a siren going off and there's nothing I can do. And my wife and 2 daughters are in the other room.
He's terrified for his life.
In that moment, just... that was awful. Because
it makes you feel kind of hopeless because you're like, I want to help so bad, but I can't.
There's nothing I can do, and I know that. I can only do my work.
But even then, I think you have to kind of give yourself a ton of credit there because you are making a difference, and maybe the assignments you're taking on are freeing up amazing hours for them that are allowing them to do other things with their kids.
I mean, maybe, but they still return to work. They still take on more. And they're also growing. They're in a big growth phase right now. They've almost doubled in size since I started working for them. Their Israeli office, not the Ukraine office. That's, I think, stayed the same. But I'm constantly awed by their resilience. It's wildly impressive to me.
I think you should give yourself some credit for
I don't think
working with them during this time.
Perhaps, but yeah, the 2 war zones has given me a lot to talk about in interviews.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here wondering how you haven't gotten an internship this summer.
Me too, man. I will. It'll come.
You have a variety of talents. They need you. These American companies need you.
If they're working with any nation at war, I'm their girl. I know how to balance the deadlines.
So jumping back, the Holy Land, 3 different religions claim Islam, Judaism, Christianity. They could potentially claim I have a right to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
How is that ever going to be resolved? Is it going to be resolved?
I don't think it ever will. It never has been. Even before Israel was a state, the Jewish people had no homeland, quote unquote, for ever. And the British and the French were the Ottoman Empire fell, and they were trying to divvy up the land in a reasonable way. Like they usually did. Reasonable is a stretch, but they did try. And so they were thinking, okay, so do we give it to Islam? Is this going to be an Islamic Holy Land? Because, I mean, these temples had been there. And they said, no, okay, so they have other lands. There are other lands that are predominantly Islamic. And then Christianity, no, I mean, we're all predominantly Christian, so we'll give it to the Jews. And so the Jews got the Holy Land, but that debate, that contention has never gone away, and I don't think it ever will. Yeah, I don't like religion. I think it's just such a dividing force. I think you should be a good person without having to use something that's supposed to make you a good person to fight other people. And with that being said, I feel like I agree with the sentiment. I just have to play devil's advocate here. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of good that comes from it in a lot of individual lives and keeps people the will to keep going. Absolutely. And I think that it's whatever works for an individual to make them a good person at the end of the day. But I don't think it should be used as a vice or a divider as it has been, as it is. Yeah.
That's what makes me the most sad is...
It can be such a positive, but it's being so negative.
Double-edged sword to the max.
Yes. Yeah.
And just... You're fighting over ideas, which I think is the worst thing to fight over.
Yeah, and interpretations of very, very, very old books.
That's the thing, and it's just it kind of makes me sad, and it's just like, at least maybe fight over land. I think that's stupid too.
Land, money, power, not religion, not God.
Yeah, I feel like just fight over something tangible.
Yeah.
I feel like fighting over ideas, you're never gonna win.
And I think that the only thing that we can do, I don't even know how one can possibly combat anti-Semitism or anti-Islamic feelings in a different country across an ocean. And I think, unfortunately, it's been so capitalized on, the fact that blew up. The fact that whole war situation happened is just being taken to the extreme by Americans and by people all over the world, using it as a vehicle for their own anti-Semitism or anti-Islamic behavior.
I just think people are bored.
I know, and just
like,
victim complex.
Hate.
I want to hate. I want to create. I want to make struggle here too. They can't have all of that. So that has just arisen, and it's horrible. And I don't think anyone should hate someone else based off of their beliefs. It's 2023. It's going to be 2024 in a couple days. That doesn't make sense.
No.
The Holocaust happened.
You would think we've learned something.
It just doesn't make any. It is infuriating. There's no way to solve it anywhere. There's no solution. It's just people will hate because they can. So
if we were tied up into one solution, we say time, possibly time is the great healing equalizer here.
The only thing that's given me a little bit of hope is how the Hamas founder's son has been very anti-Hamas. They've been on social media everywhere, and I don't know if that's...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a shtick, but he's very opposed to his father's regime and all of that.
That's
and
fascinating.
It's really interesting. When I saw that, I thought it was fake, but I researched it further, and it was real. And he's speaking. One of my good friends from the fellowship, she has organized so many speakers at her university, and he's speaking there. I think through Zoom, but I mean, he'll still be speaking there. And so if the child can oppose, and now he's an adult, he's not a kid, but if
still younger
can oppose and understand and recognize the evil of the older people,
and his dad at that,
maybe it'll phase out.
Yeah,
I'm not certain, and I don't think it'll ever go away, because I know there are kids that are there are anti-Semitic kids, there are anti-Islamic kids. There was hate on our campus recently from a student against Palestinian person, another Palestinian student our age. So I think it may phase out, but not in our lifetime.
It's sad to think about.
I know that it's never going to just go away, like poof. But I don't know that it will.
Well, I think you have a good perspective on it.
Yeah, just being there taught me that each side has its own significant flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good perspective, and it seems like a healthy one, and you're doing what you can do. I don't know if I'm doing what I can do, but I feel like having a podcast on this and just discussing it, it is very important. And I guess I'm just proud that you're willing to share your story, because it is important.
I don't think I've said anything that'll cancel me for a job. Or
No.
I think it's just genuine humanity's being lost.
Yeah. Well, just know you're still a human.
I am, yeah.
You have a lot of kindness in your heart.
I try. And clumsiness. I haven't knocked anything over.
There's a lot of delicate stuff in my room. You should watch yourself.
I knocked the pipe. I knocked everything.
Last thing I want to transition to here was dancing.
I was wondering what that
And I want to end it here by telling you I watched La La Land.
I've actually never seen it.
Okay. Just know it's awesome movie, and Ryan Gosling kills the dance floor.
I love him.
He's awesome, and his dance moves are awesome.
Okay.
And I'm just getting a little inspired. I feel like I need to dance. Not here. Oh, okay. Not on the podcast. I gotta ask you though, because you're a dancer. Yeah. You have experience
dancing.
Take the floor.
Just about dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up. So I was a competitive gymnast for all of my life. It was what I was, and it was who I was. And I did it, and I loved it. But then it just got sad. Like, it happens with a lot of high-level gymnasts. Is right before they make the elite level, they realize just the abuse that they're facing.
Do I want this?
It's mental, it's yourself, and then it's your coaches and your teammates. It's just not fun after a point. Yeah. And when I realized that it wasn't fun, I said, okay, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. And one thing that I have always respected and I hope to emulate when I'm a parent is that extracurriculars they're a privilege and it's supposed to be fun. And there were a lot of gymnastics moms and dads that were like, no, you're doing this. I've put so much money into this. You're going elite. You're going to do it in college. And they're miserable. Yeah. And so I quit gymnastics, and I hate saying that, but I did quit it. And it took me so long to be able to watch the Olympics again. I think we were in an Olympic year when I quit, and it took me through the next Olympics before I was able to watch anything else.
Were you just guilty? Like, I quit this. Like,
it was, I quit and I gave up and I felt horrible. But then I started ballet, and a lot of gymnastics translated very well to
I thought
ballet.
Gymnastics was ballet.
No. Competitive gymnastics?
Yeah, I'd
like flips?
Okay, like bars and shit.
Yeah, bars, vault, beam,
okay.
The floor, yeah.
Okay.
That's gymnastics.
I see. And ballet is just, you're on the ground, no props.
No props. Well, sometimes other humans throw you.
Okay.
Which is fun. But yeah, so then I transitioned to ballet, and the skills, the strength and the flexibility, everything from gymnastics translated very well. And so I progressed pretty quickly, got on point, was in performing troupes within the studio. So I was at Atlanta Ballet, which is a pretty big ballet company, and I was in like a student that sometimes performed with their second company. And so it was very fun. And I was young, and it was amazing. And that was my happy place. I switched to Terminus Modern Ballet Theater when a bunch of my favorite company dancers from Atlanta Ballet made their own company. So I switched to that. It's still going on, but I was their second class of students. It was amazing. I mean, I loved ballet, and I think it's my closest friends from home are all from dance. And I love ballet so much.
So dance has just brought you a long way, and my cousin was actually a big dancer, and I think she still does some stuff. So I kind of grew up hearing about the dance.
Wow.
Went to a few of her competitions when I was like
very cool.
a young lad. So.
Oh, young lad.
I wasn't very into it, but
yeah, no, no straight guys care about ballet, which is fine. I do it. That's one thing I do for me. I love ballet, and I still do it in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to suggest to me a style of dancing to get into, what would I do?
So I want to say hip hop because that would just be comedic to watch you try, but I'd have to say like contemporary. I think because jiu-jitsu is kind of like your body and moving, and then contemporary is like that, but more dancey. And it's just you. There's no wrong answer in contemporary. Ballet, it's strict, and you will get yelled at by an old Russian lady, and you won't like it. But contemporary typically is like a white person with dreadlocks that's kind of chill and just like move and explore, and that's fun, and it's a great release. It's almost like a moving meditation.
Okay.
That might be more your vibe.
So you're freestyling, sort of.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, typically to like stoner music. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd like that.
Contemporary. Where would I do that at?
In Bloomington, I have no idea. In Atlanta, I can give you a list of like 10 places, but it's a dance studio. They probably have a contemporary class.
Okay.
Yeah, you should try it. That'd be funny.
I just like trying new hobbies.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I mean, from the things around your room, I can tell.
Yeah, just anything. I just like trying new things.
Yeah, I think that's a lost art.
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there, trying something new. I tried Orange Theory recently.
Really?
I'd never done it before. I did the 6 a.m.
What'd you think?
I walked out so happy. Yeah, it was great.
Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? The Orange Theory Kool-Aid?
No, just the cardio, the intense cardio. Oh. Yeah, that endorphin rush was real.
Is it more, are you talking to people during your workout, or is it just all individualized?
No, it's pretty much it's just yourself. The instructor's walking around talking to people, and they give you instructions, but everyone has their own station. So there's station 1, and I was station 1. It was treadmill, rowing machine, and then weights floor. And everything's your station, so you never have to share anything. It's all you.
That's great.
Yeah, it was actually a great workout.
Okay, what inspired you to go there?
I was in a rut. Finals, everything. I just needed a shock to my system, and I got it.
Yep.
Running to Orange Theory in shorts at 5:30 a.m. in the 30s.
Nice.
And then taking the class and then running back home, and I was like, I'm alive.
That's it. It is a serious rush. That wakes you up, too.
Yeah. Oh, I was alert.
Better than any coffee or
But then by
caffeine.
3 p.m., I was ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I would recommend it.
Do you
get a
think
free
you're going to
class.
get membership?
I have a suspicion my mom got me one for Hanukkah.
And happy Hanukkah, by the way.
Thank
I didn't
you.
wish you. I know it was yesterday.
Last time was the first night. Yeah, we ate nights.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I forgot to wish you. But
Well, thank you. Yeah, Hanukkah's always fun.
maybe you got a membership.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out
So
when I get
are you
home.
waiting to open your presents when you get home?
No, my mom sent me back from Thanksgiving break with presents, which was very sweet. So I'm home for 1 or 2 nights of Hanukkah, but I'm here for a couple, so I FaceTime my parents and do Hanukkah every night.
That is great.
It's cute. It's a little cute, I won't lie.
I had
They're
a Jewish
happy.
friend when I grew up, and we did like the candle service.
Yeah.
For
the
each
menorah.
13 nights.
8.
8.
I think Christianity is technically 13 nights. There's some other religion that has
13.
Or like, what, you have an advent calendar or something?
Don't look at me.
It's Christian. Aren't you Christian?
I would say I'm Christian. I just don't actively practice.
Yeah, that's fair. People have an advent calendar and there's chocolate in it.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm talking about?
No. Ours was like 20. Ours was like 25 days. I remember as a kid we did
So
like.
it's the month leading up to Christmas.
Yeah, it was the month leading up to Christmas. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. It's
I don't think that's like.
an advent calendar.
But I don't think it's like
That's not Christmas.
generalized. I think it's just like an American like buy
Consumer
this
thing.
calendar. Yeah.
Well, hey, you get chocolate out of it. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it was
complain.
great. We
That's
had
fair.
you open like these little like doors in this little
Oh.
like cardboard box, and like the
That's-
chocolates would be hiding behind it.
That's really fun.
I don't know why we don't do that anymore.
You should do it.
Now that you mention it,
It can't be that expensive. Just
No.
get an advent calendar.
the chocolate was cheap, and my dad would always give me his because he thought the chocolate tasted like shit. So
Probably did. When you're a kid, it all tastes good.
it all tastes good.
Yeah.
Well, we can wrap this up. Do you have anything else to add?
Be nice to yourself and be nice to others.
It's beautiful. I think you've displayed that today on the podcast.
Well, thank you. I try.
And thank you just for again having this conversation. And I think it's important for people to hear. And you take some courage to come on here and talk about these big questions.
Yeah, you're frightening.
See, it's not that bad.
No. I was scared, but it's fine.
You're good. You're natural.
Really?
I think so.
Whew. New hobby? Who
Maybe.
knows? I'll get these.
Do it. Don't look back.
You haven't yet. And props to you for starting your own podcast.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Thank you. Many more to come.
I might listen to this.
I never listen.
I actually don't want to listen to myself talk.
I never. After I edit it, I don't listen to
So
it.
you do? Okay.
Yeah. I listen to it while I edit, and then once it's over, I don't.
Smart.
Never again. Escape my mind.
Out. No more. Happened and it's done. Fair
it.
enough.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Ethan Woodworth. This is Mira Solomon. This is a great episode. Thanks again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.